Hi there, and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to make a festive holiday project, and I'm starting out with 140-pound watercolor paper. I got this at Five Below, so it's pretty accessible, and I find it's a really heavy-duty paper. And I'm just using some satin medium to adhere a bunch of my jelly prints down on the paper. So I love to do jelly printing, and I try to make a variety of different colors and patterns so that I can use the prints in my projects later. So I'm just putting them down in random order. I just kind of rip them apart and I try to keep in mind the color scheme that I'm looking for, but it doesn't always go to plan. I do try to just trust my gut and follow what I like, what interests me. Especially this paper, this pink bubble wrap that I use. I really like that one, but I have a feeling it's going to get covered up later. So I just kind of go with the flow and keep gluing them down and just kind of enjoying the process and not worrying about how it's coming together because I know that I'm going to put a lot of different layers down and things can be redone or covered up or just tried again. So I am applying the satin medium with a paintbrush. I find that the easiest way to get the medium down on the paper, and that way my fingers don't get all sticky. And I'm just trying to kind of put the papers down in a way that the color moves around the paper. I did start with a little gray here, and as soon as I put it down, I was kind of like, ooh, uh-oh. But I am trusting the process, and I just kept going with it, trying to embrace this new color that I don't normally use, especially in on top of lighter colors. But I feel like art is a process of experimenting and always trying new things. So I just went with it. And this color is bright aqua green mixed with a little parchment. I do like using parchment as a mixing color because it's not as bright as titanium white and it gives a little bit more of a creamy color. So that is where this kind of aqua blue came in. So I'm just kind of trying to blend it with the gray and make it all seem a little more cohesive. But I have to admit, at this point, I was like, oh no, what did I do? And a lot of times that does happen in my work. You know, it's very common to have that uh-oh feeling. They call it the messy middle. So I just keep going. And here is light magenta, which I really love using. It's just kind of a really poppy color. And I'm just putting it all over and trying not to get too crazy about how it looks. I do love adding water and kind of blending it. And as you can see here, I'm using a palette knife. I do like using this because it gives a different texture. You just have to be a little careful, especially on the collage papers, and make sure you're not too rough on them because it can rip the papers. So just a light pull and it'll give you some interesting texture to the paper. Right there, I got a little rough with the paper. But then I just wanted to blend it a little, so just using my finger. Often the finger is the best tool to use because you can really get specific about how things look and what eventually shows up on the paper. So again, going in with my satin medium, I did give this some time to dry, and I'm putting down some kind of translucent jelly prints that I've made on my deli paper. Deli paper is one of my favorite things to um, print on for jelly prints because it does create kind of a translucent print, but it still gives you the option of putting a mark on the paper. So you can kind of see how when I put it down, you can see a little bit below, but it does give a little color and design to the top. I feel like that's the best of both worlds. And it makes it really fun to layer that way because then you can kind of just do little pieces here and there. You don't have to create a whole other color or scene, you can just add a little bit. So a lot of these are done with stencils I have, and they're just a lot of fun to make. And I'm just kind of sprinkling them throughout the piece and seeing how it all comes together. So this is what I wanted to put as my focal point. This is something I found online. It is a royalty-free image. You can kind of search for that to find your own. And I printed it on deli paper, and I did spray it with a fixative just so that the colors wouldn't run when I used the medium on top. And even that, I did notice that the colors kind of started running just a little bit. So it's good to use some kind of fixative when you're printing. This is an inkjet printer. So I can put a link to the spray that I use in the description. It's Satin Touch Rust-Oleum Painter Spray. So I will show you that. And right now, what I'm doing is just taking a little parchment and using a stencil and a finger dauber just to create just another light layer on top. So I felt like everything kind of felt a little disjointed. So I wanted to bring the different pieces together with one more layer. And I felt like just a little paint on top would lighten up the corner as well as kind of unite some areas. So I think one of the most important things to remember when you're creating things like this is to just follow your gut and do things that maybe make no sense at the time, but just feel right to you. And then you usually find that these things really give you a little skip in your heart. So this is a milky white gel pen that I'm using. I wanted to try it out. It's a very thin line, which I liked, but I also wanted a little bit more pronounced because you can barely see it here, but I will show you the details later. It definitely is a great detail pen, and it's a lot of fun to use because it is so fine. So you can add some really dainty details. And now I'm going back in with this is a Unisigno pen. It's actually silver. I have silver and gold. And I find that they're just such a nice accent, especially with festive holiday pieces. Kind of adds a little shimmer without getting too crazy. So I'm just kind of creating a boundary around the tree just to bring a little attention to it. And a lot of times I'll do this on deli paper and glue it down, but I wanted to create something that is right on the paper. And just adding some silver ornament like bobs and bits. This is one of my favorite things to do at the end is to create just the little details, some line work, some marks, and I love doing it in the silver pen because it just gives it a little hint of holiday. So I went back to the white fine line pen and just trying to bring out this jelly print. And then back to the silver, just making marks and having fun and creating little areas of interest on the piece. I felt like that white was a little too light. I wanted to outline it in the silver. These are fun, just last minute pieces, just kind of identifying what I would like to highlight. And then I use the gold pen just to create a little star on top. And then I'm back with the silver just to create an illusion of lights. I just wanted to add a little shimmer to the tree. So there it is. All the little details. You can see the tree up close here. And just the little things that I added to kind of bring out the different jelly prints. and add a little bit of a festive feeling to it. I really love the shimmer of the silver pen, kind of help bring out that happy holiday feeling. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this, here are 2 other videos that are just like it. I appreciate you following along, and I hope to see you again soon.